walking on the Great Gulf Wilderness Trail. I first walked on this trail when I was 4 years old in 1956 with my mother, my father, my sister, my brother Rick, my brother Bill. We set out early afternoon and late morning on a summer day. I had on a Boy Scout knapsack, and it was made of olive colored canvas and had thin cloth straps that cut into your shoulders. And I was carrying my sleeping roll. I think we just had like blankets rolled up, and the cast iron frying pan. And I remember we started off walking, and very soon I realized that this is really hard. And I remember my father saying to me, Craigie, you need to keep going, because as you go, you get a second wind. Now, I thought a second wind was some actual mechanical, physical thing that would happen to me. So I kept going and waiting for this wind to come into me. Of course, second wind is really just as your body relaxes into the movement and begins to settle into a regular breathing that makes long-term exertion possible. And I have come back to that lesson again and again. So thinking of walking on this trail, thinking how many people have walked on it, but how, so 64 years ago, it's very wet right here. I was walking and, trying to think about rocks. What rocks did I touch? What roots? The wear and tear. You can see the roots are very worn down by the hikers. And I just amazed that I'm here again doing this. And I came up here one other time in 1972, I believe. And I was at that point, I was 20, and I would just started college. So maybe 71, I'll have to check on that. And my cousin Susie had dropped me off on Route 2 at the Carter Moriah Range to, I was heading out for several days of hiking on the Appalachian Trail that would take me over the Presidential Range. And she dropped me there. I headed out, went up over the Carter Moriah Range, Carter Notch, Carter Hut, Wildcat Mountain, beautiful hiking, down to Pinkham Notch, out the Appalachian Trail, and somewhere in there, I believe I hooked up with this trail off the Appalachian Trail and headed up and spent the night in the shelters up here. One other thing, when we came up here with my father in the 50s, when we got to the shelter, we set about cutting spruce boughs to make our beds, because they smelled good, they were soft, and that's what we slept on. Of course, one would not do that now. Be a little bit damaging. But it was a different world then. And my father had come from that group of sort of World War II, pre-World War II, Dartmouth outing club, hikers, climbers, skiers, back when this world was a very untraveled world with a very particular group of people paying attention to it. So I was up here again in 71, 72. Stayed in the Great Gulf Shelter, went over the top, back down, and to Pinkham Notch. I think I was very relieved to find the Joe Dodge Lodge there and spend the night. And I was pretty beat by that and surprised how hard that work was. Then I hitchhiked back to Waterford, Maine, about an hour away. And when I arrived there, I walked in the dirt road, and my girlfriend was babysitting for my cousins. I met her. She was coming out of the house and to see me, and she was crying. For some reason, my very first thought was she's had an affair with someone, and she's just so devastated by having to confess this to me. And she then gathered herself and said, "Your cousin Susie has been killed." A couple days after Susie had dropped me off on the fucking trailer, she was killed on the Big Turnpike. She was 22, now she's 24 or something. She was pregnant at the time. Her daughter Krishna was 2 years old and in the car with her, was thrown from the car and survived, but Susie was killed.